Welcome back to Office Hours, week 6 of BE101x. In fact, this is our last office hours of this particular edition of the BE101x class. The debate we had this week was a debate that actually often brings in a lot of passionate discussion, brings in fairly strong opinions on both sides. And the debate is, should we let people rely on intuition, or should we develop a culture of using models and gadgets in helping people make better decisions? Very quickly, we had 5 experts who spoke in the video. Delane Hampton, somebody who spent a number of years at Procter & Gamble trying to help managers make better decisions, actually came out saying no, that perhaps that's not the best idea, that managers actually trump a model. Professor Min Zhao also said no to models, that in fact intuition is better. Professor Claire Tsai, who you saw earlier, actually supported models, saying that we know that there's a lot of research showing that people have difficulty making decisions, aggregating information. Same theme echoed by Sarah Morandi from Google Canada. And finally, Kelly Peters, who is a consultant and CEO at BE Works, also making the point that we have an opportunity here to develop better models to help people make better decisions. So that was what the expert opinions were. 2 people on the panel said no to models, 3 supported them. Here's what we saw on the vote pages and on the discussion forums of BE101x. Now, as I said earlier, this debate tends to be a fairly heated debate. So on one level, I think there is a lot of evidence that shows that there are some domains, and we've seen a lot of this discussion in week 6 of our BE101x class. There are some domains, predictable environments, stable environments, environments where there is enough data about cues that can capture what the final judgment is going to look like. These are environments where in fact we have fairly good evidence to suggest that models can certainly outperform intuition, that in fact you can model intuition and use that to bootstrap your judgments. But the notion of models potentially replacing human beings evokes a fair bit of passion. So a lot of people come out and say, well, no, this is something inhuman about it. There is something missing, and I think that's certainly the case. So as we discussed in week 6, models are great at being systematic. They're great at combining information systematically, but they only know what the manager tells it. And so I think that is obviously one big limitation of models. And so I guess the big questions that we want to think through here in this debate is, what's the best way in which we can actually use models without offending people? You obviously don't want to do that, but thinking through ways in which they can help improve decision making. So here are a few specific thoughts. In week 6, we talked a lot about the combination of intuition plus models. We looked at an example of a 50-50 combination where you let the model make a judgment, you let the manager make a judgment, you simply combine those two judgments. We need to think about ways in which we can better incorporate manager's judgment and expert's judgment, a policymaker's judgment into a model. And that could simply be a 50-50 type of approach, or maybe there is a specific variable in the model that a expert can input, or perhaps there's some sort of an anchoring and adjustment process where the model makes a prediction or a judgment or a decision, and the manager has the ability to anchor on that and adjust it. But any intervention that simply gets a manager, gets an expert to look at the data produced by, or look at the result produced by a model, I think would be helpful, because it simply forces the manager to look at that output, and who knows, there is something interesting there because it is the product of a systematic process. The other thing that we looked at in week 6 was we looked at a different range of strategies for helping people make better decisions. It started off on the top with just providing people with data, and all the way at the bottom with sort of these full-fledged decision support systems. And I think provision of data might be an interesting way to start thinking through where to use models, where to use tools and gadgets and apps to help people make better decisions. So one of our experts, Sarah Morandi, works for a company, Google, that actually is in the business of basically providing data. Look at GPS data, you could look at Google Trends. Likewise, look at examples like Amazon, where there is a lot of data that the website can curate and provide people. We need to think a little bit about tools like that that can help people make better decisions. Can we provide people data on their own consumption, on their own usage, on what the average consumer is doing? Does that in fact help improve decision making? And then finally, the last point I would make in this debate is the idea that today we have the ability to take models or to take computational devices or apps along with us on our smartphones. So all of us have a smartphone that might look like this. It's got a pretty sophisticated computation engine. It is mobile. It connects to the internet. And by using technologies where we can actually get data from what we tell the smartphone, from what the smartphone learns from the internet, and perhaps from its location, the ability that gives us to produce models is absolutely stunning. So think about ways in which we could create models, create apps that could educate people, that could give people more data, that could give people more helpful hints in terms of how to make decisions, or in fact make decisions on the part of the individual itself, on behalf of the individual. And I think you have the entire spectrum of possibilities in front of you. So broadly speaking, in this course, week 5, we spent a lot of time talking about nudging, creating a safe environment, creating a situation where you nudge people towards making a good choice. In week 6, we've talked about how we could potentially harness the technologies that we have available to us and the simple models that we talked about to help people improve their decision making. This is your classic rebias and debias story all over again. With models, I think we have the opportunity to help people make better choices, and we should simply figure out how to best leverage that opportunity without offending our target consumers. That brings us to actually the end of our debates in BE101x. And as I said last week, I thought this was a fantastic experience, not just for me, but I suspect for a lot of you as well. I think the way we saw thoughts evolving in the debates was interesting. We started off with a simple debate on, actually a seemingly simple debate on rationality. Is that damaging to welfare? We concluded that it sort of depends on how you define rationality. And as we went through each of the 6 debates, I think I was impressed and happy with the depth and the maturity of the discussion that I saw on the board. As we started off with the debate section, there was more of here's my position, here's my opinion kind of debates. But as we moved into week 3, 4, 5, and 6, we saw a lot more people trying to reconcile. We saw a lot more people trying to build upon each other's opinions, which I thought was fantastic and in the spirit of a true debate. And I hope that's actually brought out to you the complexity of a lot of the issues that we deal with as people who are nudging, or as people who are choice architects trying to help other people make better choices. So our field is, as I said, relatively new. There are a lot of issues that are both philosophical as well as challenging in terms of technology. But at the heart of it is this nature of a good debate. We need these good debates. We need a good policy forum where we can discuss issues like these and come to the conclusion as a group, as a community, as to what we would like choice architecture to do for us and where we should not tread, what tools we should use, and which tools are perhaps too premature to use at this point in time. So hopefully you found this experience as interesting as I have. There is an assignment on the debates, and a lot of you have already gone in and looked at it, where we'd like you to reflect on one particular debate, a debate where you had a particular starting opinion that you felt changed or matured as you participated in and read what other people have to say. A short reflection piece on that debate is what we're looking for. It's a piece that's going to be self-graded, so we will provide you with a rubric for how to grade yourself, but that is certainly a requirement for getting a certificate in BE101x. So those were my last office hours. Let me conclude with a couple of quick thoughts. Thought number one, a number of you have used our Google link document that we posted, the link where we gave you the option of writing to us with potential ideas that you want to collaborate with our group on. We've read a lot of them. Most of you have probably received an email acknowledging that we've received your ideas. We will be working on discussing each of those ideas over the next few weeks, so do expect to hear back from us one way or the other. And for those of you who are interested in submitting an idea, please do so. If you go back to week 0, you will find a short video that talks about the ability to submit ideas for a potential research collaboration. And 2, even if you don't collaborate with us, spread the flame. I've said this before in the lecture this week, but spread the flame. Keep talking about the ideas from this course to your friends, to your colleagues, and it's only by sharing these ideas widely and by practicing the mantras of behavioral economics that we will move forward as a field and help each other grow and learn from each other. So on that note, thank you very much. You have been a fantastic audience, and I wish you good luck with not just what remains in this course, i.e. the final exam, as well as your nudge challenge, but in helping you implement a lot of the ideas that you've learned from this course. Keep us posted on how these things work for you, and all the very best. Thank you.